Hello, my gorgeous humans. How we doing and how we feeling tonight? Okay, so it's been a little while, but here we are back again, back in the groove. Today, guys, we're gonna talk about a little album that came out in March of this year. But it's actually an album that I keep dear to my heart, out of the 2021 albums that we have. Um, and this album is Sarah Larsson's sophomore album, Poster Girl. This album, I was really anticipating it back when it was announced, even further back, when Sarah was dropping, her singles, Ever Since Ruined My Life, 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Yeah, so it's been quite a while. And once again, this dropped in March, but now we're reviewing it. Actually, fun fact, this was gonna be the first review for Pop and Bop, but things changed. So we're doing the review now. So let's get right to it, shall we? So Sarah Larsson, brief rundown on her. She's a Swedish singer. She's a pop artist. You may know her from songs like, It Ain't My Fault. What else? I'm forgetting the songs. Hang on a sec. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Lush Life, Never Forget You, Symphony with Clean Bandit, and so on. So, okay, today we're going to talk about Poster Girl, for her second album. So, let's first talk about, the singles that were dropped prior and during the release window of this album. So, as I said, the first single was Ruin My Life. Back when Ruin My Life was dropped, this was like a droplet single, you could say that, because it was like 2 years ago. But then we had Love Me Land, which is a really great song, as you'll see right now in my album breakdown. Then we have Wow, which she also did a remix with Sabrina Carpenter, one of my favorite singers. And finally, Talk About Love with Young Thug. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's get right into my track ranking. So my track ranking, we have 12 tracks. The album is 37 minutes and 45 seconds long, so it's not very long for it being 12 songs. So it's a pretty good length. You can really get into it really quickly, as I did. As I have multiple times already. So, okay, my number one song has to be, hands down, Need Someone. Why? Because, this song has a really deep connection with me. Here at Pop and Bop, we're all about connection with music. And this song really resonated with me because it came at a time of my life that I really connected, with the song, with the message, the lyrics, because it's talking about I don't need someone, but at the same time, I don't need your love, but I want you. I was, I was going through not a breakup. It was more like I was dating someone, and that person, didn't want to continue. And I was just left with the crumbs. I was left to pick up the pieces. So, this song really resonated with me, with that experience. And to this day, I never skip it. I never do. I never skip it. Then number 2, we have Poster Girl. Okay, I'm going to save the analysis for later on. But okay, so number 2, we have Poster Girl, the title track. Number 3, Wow. Number 4, Talk About Love. Number 5, Love Me Land. Number 6, Right Here. Number 7, What Happens Here. Number 8, I Need Love. Number 9, Look What You've Done. Number 10, Ruin My Life. Number 11, Stick With You. And number 12, FFF. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get right into the full album breakdown. Okay, so what do we have here, guys? So, as I said, we have 12 tracks. The opening track is Love Me Land. And you know, the song, what I interpret it as is, Sarah's talking. I think Sarah is talking about, this is a place where you love me, like it's all about me, all eyes on me. I don't know, maybe she's talking about a guy who she wants full attention from. We can all relate to that. I can surely do. And what I can tell you is this is pop perfection. Love Me Land is pop perfection. It's a really underrated song. I believe it should have been a hit. It had the potential to be a hit. Then number 2, we have Talk About Love featuring Young Thug, which is actually the only feature on this album, which is pretty interesting because, we're coming off from her debut album, So Good, which is longer and has more features. And it feels like more of a commercial effort. And Poster Girl feels more like a, more focused piece. A more focused piece that is more centered around, a message, a story, storyboard. Okay, so, and Talk About Love, she's saying, I don't want to talk about love. We can all relate to that. I mean, so far, these songs are being pretty relatable, as you can see, at least for me. I don't want to talk about love. I can relate to that because there are times that I don't want to talk about love. Love can be a tricky subject. Sometimes you just don't want to talk about it. You just want to experience it, live it, feel it. And Young Thug really assists pretty well here. He has a knack for doing pretty good at features. Most notably, I can tell you that Havana, Camila Cabello's Havana, featuring Young Thug, is a really great example of that. Okay, so moving on, number 3, Need Someone. I already talked about this song. What can I add? It's kind of a sad song, as you can see by the message of it. I don't need someone. I don't need your love, but at the same time, I want you. I have gone through that process with a bunch of guys already. Not pretty, but that's life. That's life. Then number 4, Right Here. Don't have anything particular to say about the song, so let's get right into Wow. Okay, so track number 5, Wow. This is a banger. It feels explosive. Like it really feels like a song you would hear at a stadium tour. I really want to see Sarah live. I've never seen her live. And it must be a really great experience because she has a lot of stage presence. She has that killer energy, that vibe, that pop stardom status. She's really underrated, I believe. So she should be bigger. She should be a bigger star than she is already. And Wow really cements that. And also, the remix with Sabrina really encapsulates that. Sabrina is a fellow pop artist, and they're both blondies, they're both pop artists, as I'm saying. They really had great chemistry vocally. So yeah, and Wow, if any of these songs were to be a hit, I know Ruin My Life was the biggest hit here. It has almost 500 million streams, and it's not for nothing. So, but was that wow was that bitch? Wow is that bitch that should have been the biggest hit of this album. It really deserved. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's one of my favorites, and it's really the banger that should have, elevated the success of this album. Okay, so moving on to number 6, Poster Girl, the title track. This song is really, really, really solid all around. I really connect with that song. Not for the message necessarily, but it's a really fun song. This used to be my favorite track out of the 12, but now it's I Need Someone. I'm sorry, Need Someone. Okay, so number 7, I Need Love. Who doesn't need love, right? I mean, we're humans, it's only natural. I need love, you need love, we all need love. Not much else to say about that. It's a really common necessity, a feeling, not fleeting, but really cemented. Okay, so track number 8, Look What You've Done. Okay, so at the time I thought this was gonna be the 5th single of the album. I think it wasn't. I think it was gonna be pushed, to be a radio hit, but it wasn't ultimately. And what can I tell you, sorry, about the song itself? So, Look What You've Done. I mean, I'm guessing it's talking about, look what you've done here, like the mess you made with this, situation, relationship, whatever it may be. That's the only thing I can take away from that. I have listened to this album multiple times, some songs more than others, but this song it needs to grow on me a little bit more so I can also understand it more. Number 9, Ruin My Life. So this was the first single that we ever had of this album. Not my favorite. It's actually toward the bottom of my list, but it's a good song. I mean, it's a good pop song. I'm not gonna deny it. There's a reason why it has almost 500 million streams, so there's that. Number 10, Stick With You. So, she's talking about, I'm gonna stick with you through thick and thin, and whatnot. Number 11, not much to say about that, at least on my end. Number 11, FFF, or as it says, Fall for a Friend. So I have fallen for friends before. Don't recommend it. That regularly doesn't end well. And friends have fallen for me. So, it's a tricky situation on either end. And number 12, What Happens Here Stays Here. Well, that's what she says. It's called What Happens Here, and she says, what happens here stays here. Like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and stuff of the sort. So, okay, let's dissect the album a little bit, shall we? So, let's see. Okay, so this is 12 tracks. This feels like a story is being told, a cohesive story, compact. It is definitely talking about love. It talks about, it starts off with Love Me Land, talk about love, but then it goes right into need someone, like I don't need someone, and then it goes to I need love. Like, what I interpret it as is it starts out like Sarah's in love, and then her heart gets broken. She's craving love. She needs love. She's blaming the other person for what they did in the relationship. And then she's talking about, I want to ruin my life. We're turning things around. But then she like is there's a reconciliation happening, like with Stick With You, and then Fall For A Friend, and then what happens here stays here. Like, that's what I interpret it as. It doesn't make a lot of sense now that I say it out loud, but I'm trying to make sense of it. But yeah, basically, this is a love story, the ups and downs of a love story. That's basically what I interpret it as, you know? Okay, so what can I conclude about Poster Girl by Zara Larsson? So, this is a pretty entertaining how do you say it? This is a pretty entertaining ride. That's the word. This is a pretty entertaining ride from start to finish, all throughout. You never get bored. There's not a track that you skip. All 12 tracks have a reason to be here. So I really commend Sarah for that, because on her debut album, So Good, you can't say the same thing. At least I can't say the same thing, because there are some songs that I always skip. And here on Poster Girl, this is an album that I can go back to anytime, anywhere, and I can just play it from start to finish. No skips at all, 0 skips. So yeah, like, that's really something. Okay. Finally, well, we're almost at the end here. We're almost at the end. So, is Poster Girl better than So Good? If we're talking about 2 albums here, which is the best one? So I can confidently say 100% sure that Poster Girl is Zara Larsson's best work to date. Yes, it's only 2 albums that she has in her discography, So Good and Poster Girl, but with what I mentioned already, Poster Girl feels more like a personal, genuine body of work from her, rather than So Good, that feels like a commercial effort, as I already mentioned earlier. So you want something that feels more genuine to the artist and will be more genuine to the listener, us listeners, the fans, and the stands, And finally, what score do I give Zara Larsson's Poster Girl? I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really recommend this album to anyone that is a pop fan. Even if you're not a Zara Larsson stan, like I am, I would highly recommend you listen to this album, because it's so good, no pun intended. And yeah, guys, that'll be it for this review. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for your continued support. There's a lot of content coming pretty soon on Pop and Bop, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you so much. I'm Emilio Fernandez, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.